Alright, so Terrifier 2 is basically the Barry Bonds of slasher films. It hits way too hard, it sticks around for just a little bit too long, and it's definitely about to create a scandal or two. In other words, it's a horror junkie's absolute dream come true. What's up guys, I'm Sully Streams. I post videos every week about which movies are actually worth your time and which ones are just hot garbage, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you just keep on adding to that never-ending watch list. And today I'm excited because we're talking about the brand new slasher movie, Terrifier 2. If you saw the first movie, you know what you're getting here, so all you need to know about this one is that Art the Clown returns to Miles County after being resurrected by some sort of a sinister entity, and this time he has his sights set on terrorizing a young girl and her little brother on Halloween night. Okay, so this review honestly needs a disclaimer here first. You need to know what you're getting yourself into before I say anything else. This is not light or gateway horror. This is the real dirty business. This is the double black diamond of slasher movies. Not only does a movie like this, that's this violent, gross, and bloody to this degree not show up in the mainstream that often, but definitely not one that's goddamn 2.5 hours long. If you're not a big scary movie fan, maybe you sit down to watch a couple here and there from time to time. If you go to see this movie, that's like a kid graduating from T-ball and getting sent right to the major leagues. You're just not ready for it. Like, I'm a horror movie veteran. I've seen it all, and even I was like, holy shit, I can't believe they went there a couple times during this movie. So taking us back to when the first Terrifier movie came out for a second, I wasn't insanely impressed. I didn't love it. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood when I watched it, or I also think I let the hype get to me a little bit. Everybody and their mother was talking about this thing when it came out, and it was blowing up all over social media, especially when it got put on Netflix for the first time and there were just way more eyeballs on it. There were parts of it that stood out for sure, the performance of Art the Clown and the level of gore, just to name a couple of them. So when I knew I was going to be watching Terrifier 2, I went back and watched the first movie a couple weeks ago, and I definitely liked it more on rewatch. I still don't love it, but I understand more of the appeal of like this slasher movie that's just going further than other horror movies want to go, and just becoming this kind of grindhouse cult classic. But let me be clear. Terrifier 2 not only exceeded my expectations, it surpasses the original movie in every single way. The performances are better, the camera work is better, the special effects are better, and honestly one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle here is that the story is better, like way better. That must have been one of the things that I just didn't love in the first movie. It was just too lacking in the story department for me to get really invested into it. And when casual fans think about like horror icons and famous villains, everyone can tell you like what their background is, what their backstory is, and how they came to be. In Terrifier 2, they give us little tidbits about the history and the background of Art the Clown, which was the right decision, but they could have gone way further with it if you ask me. In my mind, there's no excuse that they didn't too. I mean, this movie has an insane runtime of 2.5 hours long. It's the longest slasher I've ever seen in my entire life. If they really wanted to, they could have packed this with history and mythology. The movie's biggest problem is that it's very bloated. You could easily cut like 30 to 40 minutes out of this thing and still achieve the same satisfying payoff we got in the end. It feels more like a messy director's cut than it does a theatrical cut in that regard. And some people are definitely gonna eat that shit up, but it could have been way tighter, and that's by far my biggest complaint with this movie. But if you loved the first Terrifier movie, I have no reason to believe you won't be absolutely obsessed with Terrifier 2. It more than doubles down. It triples down on everything the first movie does, especially the blood, the gore, and the practical effects. All of those are basically on steroids now. You can clearly tell these guys tried to outdo themselves from what they did on the first movie. Like, these guys are sick puppies. If that's something that you seek out, you're gonna be impressed. I'd love to see how much of this film's budget was used on blood and guts alone. And they're finally starting to give us interesting characters to watch other than just Art the Clown. Lauren Lavera, who plays our final girl in this movie, does a really good job, and you actually care about what she's going through. Obviously, no performance comes close to David Howard Thornton's with Art the Clown, but if you want this franchise to have some serious staying power, you need to give us some interesting characters for him to play off of. But let me be the first to tell you, this dude came to play in this movie as our villain. I'm starting to think we might have a new horror icon on our hands. If there's one thing Terrifier 2 is not, it's boring. It's jam-packed to the brim with gore, thrills, and style that are gonna make horror junkies squeal. But even though this movie definitely overstays its welcome with a long 2.5 hour runtime, it still doesn't delve into parts of the story that I want explained more. If they're able to tighten it up a bit, we'd really have something special on our hands here. But you just have to admire what it's able to accomplish with the budget that it has. Our two lead performances are very good, the practical effects are on point, and it's just a wild ride from start to finish. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, Art the Clown is well on his way to becoming the newest horror icon. Terrifier 2 gets a Sully score of 3.5 stars. So that's my review of Terrifier 2. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to go check this one out or if you've already seen it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next video.